Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome, everyone, to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show here on Channel 3 WKYC locally in Cleveland. Big deal this Sunday, the Major League Baseball draft. We normally don't talk about the baseball draft, but the Guardians have the first overall pick. Who will they take? We'll let you know coming up a little bit later. Earl.
I'm Earl of Pearl, and I'm going to tell you what's going on with Amari Cooper's contract situation. Training camp kicks off in a couple weeks. Will he be there? G. Bush.
And today is the day. The returning champions, the Cleveland Cavaliers, start Summer League, and one Emoni Bates is the talk of the town, and I will let you know why coming up next. McNuggets?
Plus, Koby Altman has been MIA for parts of the offseason. So how do you quantify and grade everything the Cavs have done up to this point? We're going to hand out some grades for the Cavs front office.
All right, that's all coming up on today's Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. But we begin with Major League Baseball there, Mike, right?
No, that's what we're ending with.
Oh, that's right.
Good job, But we're going to start with those grades. We're handing out to Koby Altman. Bull's usually not the lead host of the show. Jay Crawford is, but he's playing in the Pan Am game. So
hey,
Bull,
I've
job
hosted the show before,
Hater.
and that has nothing to do with it. I just lost my mind there for a second. So we start with the grades of the Cavs. Obviously, guys, to this point, the Cavaliers have not done much, but they've hired a new head coach, some assistants to go with them, and they have re-signed, I really extended Donovan Mitchell. He has a new contract. That's been it so far. Earl, what's your grade for the Cavaliers for this offseason?
Just the word report card, it just give me chills. It would take me back to my childhood when I used to have to hurry up and get home and get mine out the mailbox.
They used to start sending them home. I'm like, y'all dirty.
Dirty. You know what I mean?
Trust us to
trust me to take that home so my mother could never get it. But as far as the Cleveland Cavaliers are concerned, their offseason grade for me right now is a B-. I think when you look at all the dominoes that needed to fall, the biggest domino clearly was making sure that you re-sign Donovan Mitchell to a long-term contract extension. And I think that was huge for this franchise because this is the first time that we've seen a superstar player not named LeBron James really commit to the Cleveland Cavaliers. The second domino that was needed to fall was you needed to find an upgrade at the head coach. The Cavaliers believe they did that with Kenny Atkinson, a guy that is elite with player development, a guy that has spent the last 4 years with Steve Kerr and the Golden State Warriors, learning how to fine-tune his motion offense. And then you look at the staff that Kenny Atkinson put together with Johnny Bryant, DeMarre Carroll, Jordan Ott, amongst others. Those moves collectively, the Donovan Mitchell move, the head coach and the coaching staff, I give them an A. However, outside of that, when it comes to reconstructing the rest of the roster and making upgrades to the bench at least, I got to give them an F because they've done nothing at all. So to me, we got to go to B- there.
By the way, can you put that graphic back up again for 1 second, please? Because I can't help but I'm a little distracted by the fact that you just have Earl's head and his hair, and it kind of looks like he could be a cartoon character in his hair or his legs.
Right.
If he were a cartoon character.
That is crazy.
Little tiny leg.
That's a little Aqua Teen Hunger Force in that.
Or the Octonauts or something like that.
That is
sorry. Go ahead, G. Bush. We got a B- for Earl.
Make sure y'all get my graphics together. Don't be having me looking crazy, man. Listen, hey, I'm with Earl. I could boil it down to this. Look, you signed Donovan Mitchell. I like that. We love that. Like, you got a superstar. You got Kenny Atkinson, who I wanted from the get-go. I was on record with that. That's great. So I'm going to give you an A for those two things. But your off-season moves, Minimowski, you brought nobody in off the bench. You got no free agents. We still waiting on them free agents. We still waiting on those, boys. I got to give you an F. And an A plus an F equals out to a C. The only reason I got a plus on that is because you crept up and you got two guys that I'm interested in seeing in Summer League, DJ Burns and Emoni Bates, Craig Porter Jr. That's the only reason you got the plus. I was going to give you a C, but today is opening day.
What about their recent pick, Tyson?
Jalen Tyson, I like him too. I want to see what he has to offer. I like that move. Yeah. All the young guys, I'm going to watch those, but you did nothing on the free agent and trade market yet, so I got you C+, bro.
You know what's funny about these grades is last week, the three of us were on together, and we argued about should the Cavs be criticized. And you guys were very critical of the Cavs, and I was like, give them some time. Yeah. And I gave them the lowest grade in the league.
That's the way it works.
I mean, not that much lower, but I gave them a C.
Right, it's the same area.
Because I'm grading right now, I'm like, yes, I like the coaching hire, and I love re-signing Donovan, but I don't think that outweighs that they've done nothing. Now, I'm willing to be patient, but the grade is right now. The grade has nothing to do with patience. And as you guys have said, the rest of the grade's an F. And I'm not giving an A for the Kenny Atkinson because I like it, but I don't know that it's an A. So anyway, go ahead, Mike. What did you give as a grade?
So I did this exercise on the Ultimate Cavs show on Wednesday night. And for their overall offseason, I ended up going with Earl's grade of a B-. And the way I went G. Bush for an analogy for this one. It's like your parents send you out to the grocery store because they're making fried chicken for dinner. Mm-hmm. And you come back with chicken and breadcrumbs. That is Donovan and a coach. Mm-hmm. And the rest you kind of forgot. You can still finagle fried chicken out of that, but it certainly is going to be the delicious recipe your mom or your grandma or whatever had.
I can just go to Giant Eagle and get some fried chicken or KFC.
Sure, if you want. But the two biggest things on the checklist for Koby Altman, he accomplished, and you get credit for that. And when I was weighing what he hasn't done versus what he was done, I just weighed the two biggest things on the checklist a little more heavily than I did the lack of moves on the bottom.
Yeah, and the reason I can't give a high, he did what he had to do, but they were going to hire a coach. I mean, he gets credit because it wasn't like I know you like the choice, I like the choice, it's fine, but it's not like he's a no-brainer choice.
Right, it was like...
So I don't know, why am I going to give him credit for hiring a coach? You have to hire somebody.
It could have been a nobody out of the blue.
But that doesn't mean it would have been a bad choice.
No, but if I was grading, I'd just feel more confident in the Atkinson hire.
Or if he didn't sign Donovan Mitchell,
yes, I agree with that.
Like, we might as well chalk it up.
I think it's deeper than just the head coach, though. I think when you assemble a coaching staff that can create open dialogue between staff and players, when you got guys that's like Johnny Bryant spent a lot of time with Donovan Mitchell in Utah. A guy like DeMarre Carroll, who's a former player, just actually retired a couple seasons ago. And then you get a tactician like Jordan Ott, who was in L.A. with the Lakers with LeBron James, who has some star control. I think when you build your staff out correctly, it helps leverage that grade more to an A because it's deeper than just Kenny Atkinson.
I guess I just don't know if we have proof of that yet, but on paper it looks good.
It does. It does. Pretty.
All right, go ahead, Mike. Whoa, Jason Lloyd. Let's go to the summer league.
The only one smarter than me when it comes to the Cavs, Jason Lloyd. What's up, Jason? Who joins us from Las Vegas?
Jason, are you sober right now?
Of course.
Of course he is.
It is 9:30 in the morning.
I've been up since 6 here. I've been up for 3 hours already. It's been a very low-key trip.
Are you excited? Who are you most excited to watch play for the Cavs in the summer league today?
Tell the truth.
Really? You're going to make me pick somebody?
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's what we're doing.
If I'm being honest, the answer is nobody. But if you're going to make me pick, actually, I'm going to throw you a curve. Who I'm most interested to see today is actually DJ Burns because he's lost a ton of weight.
We wanted him to be fat. I like a fat guy.
That guy ain't going to last in the NBA. DJ's lost a lot of weight since we last saw him, so I'm just curious to see what he looks like and how he moves on the floor. Sorry, G, I know you want me to say Emoni. I am not going to say Emoni.
Hey, listen, here's the thing. You didn't see the first half. I've adopted DJ Burns. I'm like, he's the body that I want to get to. Like, I'm gonna get tips. I got his old body. I want his new body. So DJ Burns, I'm interested. I like him. He's a good passer. He got a unique skill set. I want to see DJ Burns too. Now, how many of these guys got an opportunity to really make a roster? Because the Cavs, let's be clear, the Cavs got ball players, right?
Yeah. This is a stacked roster, and that's, DJ Burns probably has an uphill battle to make this team. He's just got a summer league invite at this point. Craig Porter Jr. obviously emerged last year. He's back on this roster. He'll be on this team next year. They brought Luke Travers over, a draft pick from a few years ago. They're going to take a look at him this summer. Obviously, Emoni's still floating out there. If you're looking for someone on this roster to make a significant impact on this team this year, I just don't see it. I go back to what we had these during the Emoni Wars last summer. It's like, guys, he's not going to play. Like, if he plays, something has gone wrong. And that's how I sort of feel about this again. If any of these guys are playing big-time minutes for a stretch, and we saw Craig Porter play really well in small bursts, but if you're relying on these guys to carry you for 3 weeks or a month, that's because something has gone tragically wrong. So the vast majority of the guys that you see in these games aren't going to be on NBA rosters. This is really sort of a fun event. Certainly, it's a good opportunity for some of these guys to try and latch on with teams. It's a quick early look at some of the high draft picks. Obviously, Bronny James is going to be a lot of eyeballs on him, even though he was a second rounder. And that's really the extent of it. If we're really being honest of what's really at stake, that's really it.
All right, Jason, couple things. First things first, man. Don't ever go back to Vegas and leave your boy behind. We like 2 peas in a pod now. You should have took me with you.
That's fair.
But when it comes to like Jalen Tyson, right? We know a lot of the things that he does well. He can create his own shot. He's a great slasher and things like that. But his Achilles heel is his jump shot is a little bit slow. Jordan Ott is known as a tactician who's coaching the Cavs Summer League team this year. What fine-tune improvements, and I know it's been a short window from the time he's been drafted until now, but what are you looking forward to seeing from him in particular?
I am curious to see what a shot looks like. I don't know that it's going to look drastically different than it did a month ago, obviously. You're right. They haven't had a lot of time with him. I probably should have picked Jalen as the guy I'm most interested to see over DJ. It's because I think people are going to be shocked to see what he looks like now, because when you look at what he looked like at NC State. But obviously for what the Cavs need and they're, what they're trying to get out of this, Jalen is a guy that could get rotation minutes. I don't know if it's going to happen right at the start of the season. But certainly, they have a real need still on the wing, and he's got the size and the physical ability to fill that. I do want to see what his offensive game looks like. It's so hard to really know what transfers and what doesn't from this setting. This is not a great setting. This is not a replica of NBA games. It's really just a first look at guys. And, I remember Anthony Bennett had great summer league games, and you see where that led to and what that meant. So a bad performance doesn't mean disaster, and a great performance certainly doesn't mean superstardom lies ahead. It's really just an opportunity to get an early look at these guys.
Jason, real quick to wrap it up. We've seen in the WNBA Caitlin Clark taking a lot of cheap shots this year. Part of it's because the players are annoyed that she's getting so much hype. You mentioned Bronny. He's getting way more hype than a typical second-round pick. Usually second-round picks don't get mentioned at all. Even though it's LeBron's son, you think there's some cheap shots coming his way?
No, these are and this is why not in summer league, because these are guys who are fighting for their careers.
But during the season, you think it'll happen?
Well, during the season, that's different.
Yeah.
But for what you're talking about in summer league, these are guys just trying to fight for a job and they're not worried about that. But I do think I mentioned this on the show a couple weeks ago. He's been dealing with this his whole life. His name's LeBron James Jr. He's taken guys since he picked up a basketball and said, "I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
You think you're so tough. Let's see what you got." So I do think that that's something that he's dealt with and he'll have to continue to deal with.
All right, Jason, have fun in Vegas. We'll talk to you next time.
All right, man.
All right. See you next
Our
week,
buddy
guys.
Jason Lloyd out in Vegas. We'll see him back in studio next week when we come back here on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on WKYC. The Browns are usually great at signing extensions with their players, but one player is not happy with his contract status. We'll get into it next. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show here on WKYC Channel 3. And I know exactly what we're talking about right now. It's the Cleveland Browns. Guys, the Browns generally in the last few years have done a great job when it comes to signing extensions with players that are looking for new contracts. In fact, to the point where they've signed guys that we were even surprised would get extensions, like David Njoku, which has worked out, and like Jac Conklin. We'll see if it works out. It hasn't so far. But one guy who is not satisfied at all and is very frustrated with his contract situation is Amari Cooper. He's been a great Brown. In fact, he's the only player in Browns history to have back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons. The only player in the history of the franchise. But the Browns haven't taken care of him yet. Earl, are you concerned?
Yes, Bull, I am concerned. Andrew Berry is my man's, and, I'm all for Andrew Berry usually standing on big business. But when you look at the Cleveland Browns wide receiver core, you cannot afford to stand on business with Amari Cooper, especially with so much at stake in the 2024 season. We spent the first hour and a half going back and forth talking about Deshaun Watson, expectations for the Cleveland Browns. And in order to help Deshaun Watson get the most out of him, you're going to need Amari Cooper out there. But furthermore, when you make that trade for Jerry Jeudy and you sign Jerry Jeudy to that contract extension, I'm under the assumption that you do that because you have Amari Cooper in that locker room. And Amari Cooper can do a lot to help Jerry Jeudy become a better pro, a better route runner, just a better guy all around on and off the football field. And if you're going to do that, I think common sense says you keep a guy like Amari in the fold. I'm on record saying 2 years, maybe $52 million, I think is a good deal for Amari Cooper because he has been highly productive. But you got to make sure that you get him in here and keep that dude happy.
Man, listen, I'm the colonel of Project Stockpile, the general. And Project Stockpile, we've already allocated the funds for it. It's already there. There's no way we can go into this season without Amari Cooper because now you're leveling stuff up. Now if you don't got Amari Cooper, you're asking Jerry Jeudy to be a number 1 receiver. We asking Elijah Moore to be a number 2 receiver. We already see that's not the case. Now to you guys like Bell, the guys like Tillman, those guys that have to play. I'd much rather have my number 1 receiver. They got to roll coverage to Amari Cooper. You look at Jerry Jeudy. He can be comfortable at number 2. Now Elijah Moore is in the slot. We still got David Njoku running down the seam. And now you can specialize and have guys like maybe a Jamari Thrash or a Cedric Tillman be specialist type players. You need everything and all hands on deck, especially in this AFC North and the way the schedule looks. Game 1, when Tom Brady is calling the game, I need Amari Cooper out there flanked out right, getting ready to receive these touchdown passes.
So, guys, I'm not worried about Amari Cooper holding out because I'd just be very surprised if he did that. That being said, I'm with you. Amari Cooper, to me, and maybe obviously some people would disagree, is the most important player in this offense not named Deshaun Watson. He is a star. He's a Pro Bowl player. He's the best receiver in the history of this franchise, even though he hasn't been here very long. And he's by far their best player on offense. Now, Nick Chubb was, but he's coming off injury. But I got a million running backs, and I believe in the NFL these days, you win by throwing the football. You win by putting up big numbers on offense. If Deshaun, we argued, as you said in the YouTube version of the show, about how important Deshaun Watson putting up big numbers is. Mm-hmm. Well, I think one thing we're all in agreement, if Amari Cooper is not healthy and playing the full season, it's going to be hard for Deshaun Watson to put up big numbers. Amari Cooper is the man in this skill position group. The Browns have taken care of everybody, including, as you mentioned, Earl, Jerry Jeudy. You can't take care of Jerry Jeudy. I know he's younger, but you can't take care of a guy who has really proven nothing and then leave a guy who's done it all hanging. That's not right.
They took care of Jac Conklin. He's been injured for the most
right.
part of 2 years.
You took care. And again, I get these guys are younger. Conklin's not younger, though.
Yeah.
That's fair. Take care of Amari Cooper. Pay him what Jimmy Haslam has shown us that he doesn't care about the cap and he doesn't care about money. He's got a lot of it. Take care of Amari Cooper. I hope they will before the preseason starts. All right, we've talked Browns, we've talked Cavs. When we come back, the Guardians are struggling a little bit. Oh, boy. But who will they take with the first pick in the draft? It's not going to help them this year, but it's going to help them a lot in the future. That's coming up next on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on WKYC. Welcome back. It's the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show here on WKYC. I can't talk today, apparently. Okay, let's talk about the Guardians here. We're going to get to the first overall pick in the draft in a minute, guys. Guardians struggling for the first time this year. They've dropped 9 of the last 15 games, have a 3-game weekend series in Tampa Bay before the All-Star break. So hopefully you can have a good weekend to end it on a high note. They did have a 9-game lead in the division at one point. It's down to 4.5. So they're not playing great right now, but don't panic. Trade deadline right around the corner. Hopefully they'll have some upgrades. Now, one of the upgrades to the roster is going to be the first overall pick in the draft. He's probably not going to help the team this year, but certainly by next year he could. Guys, we've talked a lot about this. We don't usually talk about baseball draft. We talk a lot about the football draft. We talk a lot about basketball draft. Baseball draft usually gets ignored. This year, because the Guardians had the first overall pick, we've actually talked about it a decent amount this week. It seems like the two big names are Charlie Condon and Bazzana. Condon and Bazzana. Those are the two big names that we've heard here. Who are they going to take? We've had predictions from some experts so far, but I'm going to make my pick right now, and that's Condon. Charlie Condon played in the SEC, which is the best level of college baseball, the highest level. Excellent competition. He had 37 home runs, fifth best in the history of college baseball. He averaged over one extra base hit per game. He's got size, which you can't teach size, you can't coach size. You either have it or you don't. He's a big dude, a lot of power, quick trip to the big leagues. Yeah, there's an issue of what position he's going to play. He's been a third baseman. He's not going to play third base for the Guardians. You got to make him an outfielder probably. Maybe a first baseman, we'll see. But I think more likely an outfielder. But I think Condon is the way to go. I think he's the most proven entity out there. If they take Bazzana, I'm fine with that. If they take Wetherholt, I'm fine with it. I generally trust this front office. But I'm going to go with Condon as the choice.
Easy money. I mean, give me Condon. Listen, his freshman year, 25 home runs. Comes back his sophomore year, 37 home runs. And then McNuggets tells me he only played like 57 games. I'm like, this guy is batting .433. He's putting up 37 home runs. And he has a boatload of doubles in that as well. So when you look at him, it's a power hitter. He plays your power positions. We've been wanting a right-handed power hitter in right or left field for years.
Yep.
And it's an opportunity to grab one of those guys. It's a slam dunk for me. I'm taking him.
Oh, man, great picks by you guys. I'm going Condon as well, but for different reasons. So, Bull, you alluded to this earlier this week. What number does Condon wear, right? Number 24. Mm-hmm. What's the last guy that was a homegrown Cleveland prospect that wore number 24 that turned out to be a damn good hitter?
I don't even know because I don't know numbers. I never remember.
Manny Ramirez.
Manny Ramirez. I'm bad when it comes to numbers. I've
But
never been good at baseball numbers.
outside of that, when I look at it is, I made a mistake the other day on this graphic, right, with his OPS.
Yeah.
And the mistake ends up being the reason why I want him. Anytime that you're slugging 1.009 for a season, sign me up for that, man. Give me Charlie Condon for the Cleveland Guardians, number 1 overall.
Do the Guardians currently have a number 24 on the roster?
I don't think so off the top of my head.
I never remember baseball numbers.
I don't know what it is. I remember Ernie Banks and Larry Doby, both 14. Ryan Sandberg was 23. Mark Grace was 17. I don't really remember many.
I wear Michael Jordan's 45.
Everybody knows basketball numbers and football numbers.
There's no current 24 on the Guardians roster.
There you go. Get them up here. Let's have them in the line. Can we get them in the lineup by next week?
Hey, listen.
Can I pull the curtain back real quick for 1 sec, G?
Go ahead.
Between our last commercial break, our last block, and this block, I went out and asked everyone, all right, so I have the graphics ready. Who are you going to take? And Bull goes, I'm taking Bazzana.
Right. He did. He said, yeah, I got – I did?
You did.
I was like, maybe he switched it up. Maybe he got some more information.
Wow, that's a bad job out of me.
He's like, I just played along. I was like, yeah, okay.
You don't get this on any other show, folks. You don't get people. Nah, they probably.
By the way, Bull is an amazing host. Just a couple, brain lapses today.
Well, I'll take Bazzana. Let me get the case for Bazzana because
I'm not grading myself an A today. I don't get an A grade for this.
Bazzana does not play a premium position, does swing a premium bat, just like Condon, who had a 1.5 plus OPS this season. Bazzana, was 1.479. He had 28 home runs from the second base position.
Yeah.
If you draft him at second base, you can move Jimenez over to shortstop. And just like Condon, who I think can make his MLB debut next season, I think Bazzana can also crack through the minor leagues in rapid succession. And we talked to everyone throughout the week. We had Jared Goodwin from Perfect Game. We had Joe Doyle. We had Tim Kirkshin on. Bazzana, Condon, and Wetherholt all seem to be the consensus 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to trust the Guardians to take the best player.
By the way,
I'm not going to get mad.
Don't steal that if they do get Bazzana. I got bananas for Bazzana. Like, don't steal that. It's coming. It'll be here.
That's going to be used consistently.
That's a Mikey McNugget special.
And someone's going to say it like it's new.
Yeah.
Bananas for Bazzana, huh?
That's true. They're going to steal that and not give you credit. On the Guardian show earlier, by the way, if you missed the Ultimate Cleveland Guardian show from this morning, make sure you check it out. Zach predicted that the Guardians would take Condon. He doesn't have inside information. He thought Bazzana could end up moving to the outfield too, Mike. That was his opinion from talking to people in the organization, that either of them could end up moving to the outfield, although it is possible, as you say, that Bazzana could end up playing second, which is what he's played, and Jimenez could move to short, especially if they end up trading, which I hope, some of their shortstop glut here at the trade deadline to get better. All right. Thanks to everybody for joining us. We'll talk to you next time. If you don't watch us other times, make sure you check us out every weekday, 11 to 1 on YouTube. Thank you for joining us on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Peace.